Good morning, children. Welcome to online classes of Diamond High School, Balki. So, today, myself, Lakshman and Suryanshi, going to teach the subject related to the 8th standard, that is social science. So, children, you have studied some topics in the last previous classes up to the 7th standard, and you have passed 7th standard. Now, you are going to be joined for the 8th standard for our school. So, in the 8th standard, we are having the social science subject. In this social science subject, we are going to see some different types of branches. So, you know that in the social science we are going to study the both society and the science related point. So, this was divided into the 6 categories. So, first category that we are going to call as the history. Second one, political science. Second one, political science. Third one, sociology. Sociology. And fourth one, geography. Geography. Fifth one, economics. Economics. And the sixth one is business study. So I think children, in the last classes, it means up to the 7th standard, you may not have the knowledge related to the points, the branches of the social sciences, or you may have the knowledge related to the branches of the social sciences. But again, by getting the revision into the parts of the social science. So in the history, we know that the meaning of history we have studied it many times. We are going to study the history of a systematic study of the past events. And in political science, we are going to learn the points related to the political developments made by the different ages. That we are going to study in the political science, or we are going to get the knowledge related to the politics of a particular country. In sociology, we are going to study particularly points related to the societies. And in geography, we are going to learn the points related to the environmental condition of the earth. Totally, we are going to study the points related to the land resources. Like this, many points we are going to see which are related to the science in geography. And in economics, we are going to study the economic status of the country, economic status of the world. So these points we are going to study in the economics. And in the business study, what kind of business development is going in the country, in the world, by the development made by the entrepreneurs or traders. That we are going to study in the business studies. So these are the 6 parts which give the idea related to the social science, but in the different way. But in the today's topic, we are going to learn the part which is related to the social science, that is history. So, children, in the 8th standard, we are having the first unit in the history by the name sources. So, sources in the first unit which is related to the 8th standard of English medium. So, in this unit sources, we are going to be learning some points. Those important points were, first point we are going to learn in this chapter is sources required to the study of history. What kind of sources are required to get the knowledge related to the history. And second point we are going to study in this topic is types of sources of history. So what kind of types sources we are going to see in the systematic study of the history. And third point is importance of the archaeological sources. So it is one kind of source which is related to the study of history. So what is the importance given by the archaeological sources for the study of history, that we are going to study in this topic. And next point is importance of the inscriptions. In this chapter we are going to study the importance of the inscriptions. And next point, last point is the importance of oral sources in the part of study of history. So these are some important points we are going to study in the part of sources related to the 8th standard. Now come to the point, what do you mean by source? So source, what is the meaning of source? So in history, we know that sources means the collection of some points, collection of some events related to the particular topic, and getting these collections is going to be called as the sources, because these collection of some events are related to a particular topic, that is called as the sources. Now come to the other way, related to the history. In the history, why we need the sources? So without the sources, there is no history. How? Without the sources, how we don't have the history? Because on the basis of the sources only, we are going to study the history. For example, you can take the example how we are going to know the history. If you want to get the study of past events related to the any person, we must have the source. You can take the other example related to our life. Already, the advocate. So one of the advocate, if you want to get the success in his case, a advocate, the advocate, we are going to call as a lawyer, who is going to study the cases related to the particular person. So this person, first, he will collect some points related to the particular case. So that points collected by the advocate itself is going to be called as the source. Without any source, he will not appear toward the court. Why he is not going to appear? Because he don't have any kind of source to get or to fight against the case related to the particular person. So, in the same way, the historians will collect some sources related to the particular story, a particular event, particular place. So I will give an example related to also nearby. We can take the example of Fort of Bidar. If you want to get the knowledge related to the Fort of Bidar, so once we are going to visit the fort, and there we will see some kind of things in the different way. After that, we are going to get the idea that this fort was constructed in the period of a particular king. So how we get the idea? On the basis of the points written on that fort, or the inscriptions written on that fort. So like that way, a advocate also collect the sources, and a historian also collect the sources, and they will afterwards they are going to write the history related to the particular king or a person. So that is called as the source. Now, In these sources, we are going to see the different kinds of sources are there in the history. So, what kind of point we are going to study in the? So, children, we learn about the topic related to the what is sources now. How the historians are going to collect the sources. But these sources are divided into some different categories, or the sources we are going to see in the different way which related to the point of history. But all these sources are giving the source for the writing of the history of a particular event, particular place, particular person. So here now the sources. First point is sources. A source can be divided into two categories. First one is literary sources, and the second category is archaeological sources. So first is divided, there are two parts, and first one is the literary source, second one is the archaeological source. So in the literary source, it is again subdivided into written literature and the oral literature. And again, this written literature is divided into native literature and the foreign literature. In the same way, we are going to see archaeological sources also having some categories. Those categories are inscriptions, coins, monuments, and some other ruins. So all these points give the source to the study of history. So in today's topic, or in the today's class, we are going to learn the point related to the first part of the source, that is literary sources. What is to be going to call as the literary sources? What do you mean by the literary source? So, in the primary way, literary source is going to be called as some sources which are present in the oral way or in the written way. Those points are going to be called as the literary sources. Now, in the literary source, we are going to see some subdivisions. First one is written literature and second one is the oral literature. Now come to the point, what is the meaning of written literature? So many times we have seen history is going to be studied or going to be written on the basis of the source taken by a particular person. So I will tell you some examples related to the what do you mean by the written literature. Written literature means, you can take the example of yourself. You are writing some point related to some particular event which you have completed before some time. So that you are writing in the notebook. That is called as the written part or the written literature. So here in the history, we are going to see the literary works completed by some particular persons in the period of a king, in the period of any age. It may be the period of Harshavardhan period, it may be the period of Chalukyas. But in that period, a particular person came and he had written related to the point of Harshavardhana and this any king. So here that is called as the written literature. And second one part is oral literature. So oral literature means the part which we are going to see not in the written way, it is in the oral thing. So how we are going to see or how we are going to know the in the oral way? We can take the example of many times we are going to learn some languages on the basis of the speaking itself. We are going to learn some songs on the basis of the oral. So we are spreading the songs by one place to the another place, one person to the another person. You can take any folk song. So this folk song itself is going to call as the oral literature. It is not written, but it is sung by someone against somebody. That singer is telling something related to the point of some particular event in the song itself. That is called as the oral literature. So again we are going to see the written literature is divided into subcategories. First one is native literature and second one is the foreign literature. Now there are two parts we are going to see in the native literature and the foreign literature. So here I come to the point of first part, that is native literature. So native literature means, so some of the works done are completed by a particular person in native place, in the native languages. You can take the example of India. How many types of languages we are going to see in the country, but every part of the country is going to see the new type of literature completed by some different persons, different authors, written by some persons. You can take the example of languages. So first we know the importance in the ancient period they are dealing for the Sanskrit languages. Nowadays we are going to see there are 1652 languages are there in the country. How many? 1652 languages. But among that we are given the importance for the 22 languages. Among these 22 languages we are going to see so many people and so many writers have written in the different languages. It may be written in the Hindi, it may be written in the Kannada, it may be written in the English, it may be written in the Sanskrit, it may be written in the Tamil, it may be written in the Malayalam, but totally the work is done in their own language or their native languages. That type of work is going to call as the native literature. So automatically the second point we are going to see the foreign literature. So in the foreign literature we are going to study. So this is the belongs to the native. It means our native place. But here the confusion comes in the foreign literature. So foreign literature means the people who belongs to the other country visited towards India in the period of a particular king, in the period of a particular point, and they have written points related to that particular king is going to call it the foreign literature. So I will tell you the example related to both native literature and the foreign literature. But before that, we have to get the idea related to the what is foreign literature. So now you got the idea. Foreign literature means somebody who visited from a other country towards India at the period of particular king, and that person has written something related to the point of that particular king. So you can take the example of Mughal emperor. So in the period of Mughal emperor, so any person who visited from the other country and he got the points related to the Mughal emperor and he has written in his own book about the points related to a particular king. That to be called as the foreign literature, because this literature was completed by a foreign person, by a person related to the other country. Now come to the point related to the native literature and the foreign literature. I will give some examples, but before that, again I want to revise the point related to the oral literature. So what do you mean by oral literature here? Oral literature means the transmission of words by the mouth, not by the written words. Transmission of words. So we are transmitting the words by the oral itself. That is called as the oral literature. So many times we know that some points we are going to see in the different way. That is, we can take the example. This oral, a literature means you can take the folk stories. So you can take the example of your grandfather or your grandmother is going to tell some story related to a particular king, or you can take the Raja. So, and you are going to learn, but it is not in the written way. And another way, sometimes we are going to see our grandfathers, grandmothers, they are going to sing the songs in front of us related to a particular king, or they are going to tell us the points related to the any legends, or the points related to the any ballads, but it is not in the written way. How? Who are the legends here? You can take the example of Bhagat Singh. He is going to be considered as the one of the Indian legends. But how? According to the story told by our historians in the oral way. So many times we are going to see the ballad. It means many type of freedom fighters we are going to see. We are going to learn the points related to the freedom fighters. But all these points we are going to learn in the oral way. That is called as the oral literature. So I will first give the example related to the written literature. Then in this written literature, native literature and the foreign literature. Again, I will give the examples related to the oral literature. So children, write down first point related to the native literature, then after foreign literature. Now write down the points related to the native literature. So some examples are there. So first example related to the native literature, that is Kautilya's Arthashastra. So it means this Kautilya, one of the writer, has written the book by the name Arthashastra. So this is the one example related to the native literature. So already we know the name of Kautilya. So he has written the book by the name Arthashastra. Then King Hala, King Hala, he has written the book by the name Gatha Saptasati. Gatha Saptasati. So which book he written? King Hala has written the Gatha Saptasati. And third one, Vishaka Datta. Vishaka Datta. He written the book by the name Mudra Rakshasa. Then fourth one, the book written by Kalhana. The book written by Kalhana by the name Rajatarangini. Banabhattas. He written the book by the name Harshacharita. Harshacharita. And the sixth one, you can take example of Pampa. We know well about the Pampas. Pampa. The book written is Vikramarjuna Vijaya. Vikramarjuna Arjuna Vijaya. So, these are some important books we are going to see. Are some important literature which are given by the native rulers, native writers. So, it means our native writers were written in the different languages in the points related to the different person. So here we got the idea Kauntilya has written point related to the Arthashastra. King Ahala has written the point related to the Gata Sapta Sati. Then Vishyadatta he written the Mudra Rakshasa. So name of the books are in a different way, and these books will give the different type of story or the idea related to the different persons. That is called as the native literature. Now come to the point of second point, that is foreign literature. Second one is the foreign literature. Foreign literature. So you can take the example related to the foreign literature. It means some of the person who visited from the other country towards the India, and they have written points related to the Indian king or Indian event. So example for this, you can write first one, point related to the foreign literature. So, some of the foreign literature, first one is the Megasthenes. Megasthenes. He has written a book by the name Indica. He has written the book by the name Indica. Then, second point is, the second person, Foreign. So, Foreign, he has written the book by the name Go Ko He. And the third one, example related to the foreign literature is Huyen Tsang. So, Huyen Tsang, he written the book related to the CUE. And the fourth one, example to the foreign literature is Ptolemy's. Ptolemy's has written the name book by the name Geography. And the fifth one, that is, we are going to see the Babur. You know the famous ruler. We have studied in the last classes. So So Babur has written the book by the name Babur Tazk-e Babri. Tazk-e Babri. Tazk-e Babri. And some other foreign literature like next one Faristas. So this Farista has written the book by the name Tariq E Farista. Tariq E Farista. So children, these are some important books or some writings we are going to see which were written by the foreign literatures. First one is Megasthenes Indica, Poems, Gokoki, Poems and CUP, Tormes, Geography, Babur, Tazk-e Babri, Faristas, Tariq-e Farista. So these are some important points we are going to see related to the foreign literature. Now come to the next important point, that is the oral literature. Oral literature. So in the oral literature we are going to take the examples related to the oral point. In this oral literature, we are going to study the points related to the folk songs. Folk songs. Second one, folk stories. Folk stories. Folk legends. Folk ballads. Folk ballads. So it means, this example means, in the folk song we are going to learn some songs in the folk side, and folk stories which are related to the particular events, folk legends, folk ballads. So one by one, I will tell you the example related to the folk songs, folk stories, folk legends, folk ballads. So you can take the example related to the folk songs. So we can take the example of Pampa. Pampa has written many songs or sung many songs in a oral way. So many times in the people belongs to the tribal area, they are going to sing the songs related to a particular period. So it is in the oral way. That is called as a folk song. So many folk songs, you know that already are there in India related to the particular languages. Folk stories. So in the oral literature we are finding the folk stories also. So I will tell you the example related to the legends and the ballads. So you can take the example points related to the ballads, like you know the Kempegowda, you know the Nayakas of Chitradurga, Tipu Sultan, Sangoli Rayana, Kitturani Channamma, and many Sangoli Rayana, many all these peoples are going to call as the ballads, and who are considered as the legends. So the people or a particular place is going to be considered as the legend. That is called as the folk legends. You can take the example of the place related to Shravan Bellward. There we are going to study the history related to a particular king. And you can go toward the Bangalore, there we are finding some historical places. And you can go toward the Pattadakalu, there we are finding some historical places. You can go toward the Gokarna, you can go toward the Mysore. Everywhere we are going to see the different type of places with different history, and these history were gained by in the oral way. That is called as the legend places, and we are learning by the oral literature. So this is the important point we are studying in this class. Today's class related to the point of literature, that to the written literature. So in the tomorrow's class, we are going to study the points related to the archaeological sources. So children, you have learned something in the first 8th standard class for the first period, points related to the sources. If you have any difficulties to understand the point related to the sources, you can take my number, contact number. The number is 7483054764, and you can contact me at 6 to 7 p.m. lead to the point of any doubts from this topic. By this way, I will complete my today's class. I will continue in the next class.